Zak Bagans didn't just chase ghosts, he chased fame, and he caught it fast. The man went from filming a low-budget ghost hunting doc in 2004 to becoming the king of paranormal TV. Ghost Adventures blew up, and suddenly Zak was a household name in the world of haunted dolls, creepy basements, and yelling at spirits. His signature black outfits, over-the-top reactions, and that spooky museum in Vegas made him a full-blown paranormal celebrity. But as the cameras kept rolling, the drama started bubbling up. Former co-stars started calling him out. Fans questioned how real things were. And suddenly, the ghost hunter had his own skeletons to deal with. Accusations of shady behavior and behind-the-scenes drama. It got messy. Now people are wondering, was Zak really connecting with the other side, or just really good at selling it? Either way, things took a turn, and it's been one haunted ride. Ghosts, glory, and the shadows behind the spotlight. Zak Bagans didn't just walk into the paranormal world. He charged in like he was auditioning to be Ghostbusters' lead singer. Back in 2004, he claimed a ghost encounter in a Nevada apartment changed his life forever. That moment apparently sparked the idea for Ghost Adventures, which started as a documentary and quickly evolved into a long-running series that turned him into a cult figure. With his signature black outfits, spiked hair, and intense stare, Zak brought a rock star vibe to ghost hunting. People weren't just watching for the spirits. They were watching for Zak's next dramatic outburst. And he knew how to put on a show. Ghost Adventures debuted on the Travel Channel in 2008 and quickly took off. It wasn't just Zak. It was also his crew, Aaron Goodwin, Billy Tolley, and Jay Wasley, running around abandoned prisons and haunted hotels yelling things like, "Did you hear that?" The show had drama, suspense, night vision freakouts, and a whole lot of shaky camera footage. Paranormal fans were hooked. It was like reality TV for ghost nerds. And Zak? He was the king of the haunted castle. But Zak didn't stop there. He opened the Haunted Museum in Las Vegas in 2017, and it became a hotspot for fans and the curious alike. The museum is filled with so-called cursed objects, including the infamous Dybbuk box, which Zak once opened on camera during a Halloween special. Post-opening, he claimed to feel sick for days and said, "There's something inside that box that doesn't like to be disturbed." Celebrities like Post Malone even visited and later claimed to have weird experiences. Post blamed a string of bad luck on touching the Dybbuk box during his visit. Coincidence or curse? Depends who you ask. But with all the theatrics and jump scares came the skeptics. Over time, accusations started surfacing that some of Zak's ghost hunting antics were a little too on cue. Former crew members hinted at scenes being exaggerated, or straight up staged, for dramatic effect. In 2023, Dakota Layden, star of Destination Fear and a former Ghost Adventures contributor, revealed on his podcast that there was an expectation to make things exciting, even when nothing was happening. He didn't mention Zak by name, but fans connected the dots. Then came Nick Groff, one of the original Ghost Adventures co-founders, who left the show in 2014. For years, fans speculated about bad blood, and in 2023, Nick confirmed it. In a now-deleted video, he said, "There was one person I worked with who made things very difficult. I was told not to speak about my past and to not mention Ghost Adventures ever again." While he never said Zak, let's be real, it wasn't hard to guess. The drama hit paranormal fandom like a thunderclap. Even within the museum world, there's been side-eye. Critics say Zak leans into spectacle more than history, with claims that some artifacts have exaggerated or unverifiable backstories. But the man knows how to market a haunting. He even bought the house from the real-life Demon House case in Gary, Indiana, only to demolish it after saying it was too dangerous. You can still watch his 2018 documentary about it, where he allegedly suffered vision problems and crew members walked off set due to the intensity of the hauntings. Again, very on brand. So, where does Zak stand today? He's still hosting Ghost Adventures episodes, still collecting cursed objects, and still delivering those over-the-top monologues like he's narrating a ghost-themed soap opera. Love him or not, he's made the paranormal world louder, darker, and definitely more theatrical. And while the controversy isn't going anywhere, neither is Zak. He's haunting TV schedules and haunted museums alike, with or without a real ghost in sight. The rise of Zak Bagans and ghost adventures. Zak Bagans didn't roll into the paranormal world with a Ouija board and a dream, though it kind of feels that way. Long before he was buying haunted dolls or beefing with spirits on TV, Zak was just a film school grad from Michigan who moved to Las Vegas. What flipped the switch? According to Zak, it all started when he encountered the spirit of a woman who had taken her life in an apartment building he lived in. That moment shook him to the core and launched his obsession with proving that the afterlife wasn't just a spooky story for campfires. He wasn't just ghost hunting for fun. Zak was out to document real paranormal activity, and not in a let's fake a bump in the night kind of way. He wanted evidence, raw, scary, and unexplainable. In 2004, he teamed up with fellow ghost chasers Nick Groff and Aaron Goodwin to shoot a paranormal documentary on a shoestring budget. The result? The Ghost Adventures documentary, which would become the spark that ignited his entire career. And yes, that documentary included the legendary brick-throwing scene that fans still talk about today. The trio was filming in the Goldfield Hotel in Nevada when, during one of their walkthroughs, a brick was captured on camera flying across the room. No one threw it. There was no trickery, just one airborne brick and 3 terrified guys. That moment had people shook. Was it real? Was it staged? Either way, it was TV gold.
Is that you making all the noise? Holy oh my God! Holy Stop! Stop!
The documentary premiered on the Sci-Fi Channel in 2007, and viewers couldn't get enough. The response was so strong that the Travel Channel gave Zak and the crew their own full-blown series. In 2008, Ghost Adventures hit the airwaves, and it wasn't just a ghost show, it was the Ghost Show. Zak wasn't tiptoeing around haunted places whispering, "Is anyone here?" He was stomping in, muscles flexed, yelling, "Do something!" It was part horror, part reality TV, and all drama. The show quickly carved out its own lane by combining real locations with intense emotional energy. Zak and the team didn't just visit haunted places, they went to the most notorious ones on Earth. Think the Eastern State Penitentiary, the Villisca Axe Murder House, the Cecil Hotel, and even the Demon House in Indiana, which Zak later bought, investigated, and demolished. Each location came with its own disturbing backstory, and Zak's signature style of provoking spirits, literally shouting into the dark, only added to the suspense. The thing is, Zak wasn't just a guy with gadgets. He made ghost hunting cool. He brought designer jeans, black tank tops, and gravity-defying hair into the paranormal game. And he wasn't afraid to get emotional. There were tears, there were screams, and there were plenty of moments where Zak claimed to be overcome by energy or possession. It was intense, theatrical, and surprisingly addictive. Zak once said, "We don't fake any evidence. What you see is exactly what we experience." That kind of bold statement earned him both loyal fans and relentless skeptics. But love him or side-eye him, the man turned ghost hunting into mainstream entertainment, and for over a decade, Ghost Adventures kept topping the charts as one of the most watched paranormal shows out there. Zak Bagans didn't just chase ghosts. He built a ghost hunting empire, complete with flying bricks, haunted real estate, and enough black t-shirts to clothe an entire vampire coven. Zak Bagans' collection under the spotlight. Las Vegas is home to Elvis impersonators, 24/7 buffets, and shotgun weddings, but nothing hits quite like Zak Bagans' Haunted Museum. Tucked away in a 1938 mansion just off the Strip, this place isn't your average tourist stop. It's more like a paranormal funhouse designed by someone who binge-watched every episode of Unsolved Mysteries and said, "Let's go darker." Zak opened the museum in 2017 after collecting haunted artifacts for years. And boy, did he go all in. We're talking over 30 rooms filled with cursed items, murder memorabilia, and haunted furniture. The place is so intense, visitors are required to sign a waiver before entering. Because apparently, seeing Charles Manson's dentures up close could unleash something other than just bad vibes. One of the biggest draws is the infamous Dybbuk box, an allegedly cursed wine cabinet that inspired the 2012 movie The Possession. Zak claims he was physically affected after opening it. Even Post Malone, who visited the museum in 2018, blamed a string of bizarre incidents, including a car crash and a near-plane accident, on being too close to the box. He told Seth Meyers, "I was around it, and then all this stuff started happening. It's spooky stuff." And that's just the tip of the cursed iceberg. The museum also houses the so-called Devil's Rocking Chair, linked to the 1980 Devil Made Me Do It possession case. That's the same one featured in The Conjuring 3. Zak bought the chair in 2019 and later claimed the energy in the room became so dangerous he had to shut down the exhibit temporarily. He even told people, "I don't want to put anyone at risk." But while some fans eat this up like ghost-shaped candy, others are side-eyeing the whole operation. Paranormal purists and skeptics alike have questioned the authenticity of Zak's claims, especially when it comes to his museum and long-running show Ghost Adventures. Critics say it all feels a little too convenient. You know, like when the EMF meter spikes just as Zak starts yelling at the ghost of a 19th century coal miner. Even some within the paranormal community have thrown shade. Longtime fans noticed a shift after co-investigator Nick Groff left the show in 2014. Nick later said in a live stream that he didn't like the direction the show had taken, and hinted that fame had clouded the original mission. While he never mentioned Zak by name, the tension was louder than one of Zak's lockdown voiceovers.
Okay, let's get into this. I got all your questions. I sorted through them. Let me start off by saying this. I never had an NDA. I was not fired from Ghost Adventures. I never did, quote, a bad thing. I never cheated in a relationship that I was in. I was misled with the ongoing of Paranormal Lockdown. I kept my head up for 9 years. I pushed forward. I kept trying to move on, creating new hit shows. But the previous hosts that I used to work with keep trying to stop my career.
Still, Zak's not sweating the haters. He's always maintained that what happens in the museum, and on his show, is very real. "These aren't just props," he told Rolling Stone. "These are real artifacts connected to death and tragedy. They hold energy." He claims he's even had physical reactions to certain rooms, including chest pains, fainting spells, and sudden mood swings. But here's the thing. Whether or not you believe in the paranormal, the Haunted Museum is a full-blown experience. There's dramatic lighting, chilling audio, and room after room that feels like you're walking straight into your own horror movie. Even skeptics admit it's hard not to get spooked. At the end of the day, Zak Bagans is less ghost hunter and more showman, with a side hustle and cursed antiques. The museum isn't just a bunch of dusty old relics. It's a spooky spectacle that thrives on mystery, drama, and a little fear of the unknown. So if you're feeling brave, or foolish, step inside. Just don't say you weren't warned, and maybe keep some sage in your glove compartment, just in case. The Haunted Museum Controversy. Zak Bagans' Haunted Museum in Las Vegas might be a spooky tourist hotspot, but behind the scenes it stirred up more drama than a late-night ghost hunt. While fans flock to see cursed artifacts and haunted relics, skeptics and paranormal insiders have been waving red flags about just how authentic this collection really is. One of the biggest whispers around the museum is that not all items are what they seem, or even belong to Zak. The paranormal community has questioned whether Zak owns every single piece, or if some are just, well, museum props. There's no official inventory or proof for many of the more chilling objects, leaving some visitors wondering if it's part Halloween haunted house, part Hollywood set. Adding fuel to the fire, there's a long-standing rivalry with John Zaffis, another well-known paranormal collector with his own haunted artifact museum in Connecticut. Zaffis, dubbed the Godfather of the Paranormal, has been in the game for decades, and his collection is considered one of the most legitimate in the paranormal world. The controversy heated up when rumors surfaced that Zak had visited Zaphis' museum, allegedly snapping photos and taking notes. Some insiders claim Zak was trying to copy the vibe, and even some items from Zaphis' carefully curated exhibits. This sparked accusations that the haunted museum wasn't as original as Zak's hype would have you believe. John Zaphis himself has stayed pretty quiet about it publicly, but sources close to him have suggested that Zak's inspiration crossed the line into imitation. For longtime fans of both men, it felt like a messy case of ghost artifact one-upmanship. Zak, known for his flair and dramatic style, was suddenly the guy accused of borrowing, or maybe outright borrowing, Zaphis' thunder. Then there's the whole question of what counts as a haunted artifact. Some items in Zak's museum have been connected to well-known paranormal cases, like the Dybbuk box or the Devil's Rocking Chair. But other objects, like random old dolls, rusty tools, or even unremarkable furniture, raise eyebrows about whether they're truly cursed or just creepy-looking antiques. Critics argue that the museum plays a little fast and loose with stories to keep visitors freaked out and ticket selling. It's a smart business move, but it blurs the line between genuine paranormal history and entertainment theater. On social media, some former museum employees and insiders have hinted that Zak's team sometimes exaggerates or embellishes the backstory of certain items. One ex-employee, who asked to stay anonymous, said, "The stories get wilder the closer you get to the gift shop. It's more about the show than the facts." Zak Bagans, for his part, sticks to his guns. He insists every item has a chilling history and a real connection to the paranormal world. In interviews, he said, "I don't collect junk. These are objects with energy. Some are dangerous, some are tragic. People feel it when they're near." But he doesn't often show receipts or paperwork, which doesn't help quiet the doubters. And it's not just skeptics and rival collectors throwing shade. Paranormal fans have also questioned how Zak balances authenticity with showmanship. After all, Ghost Adventures started out with a focus on documenting real hauntings, but critics say the show, and the museum, has veered into dramatic performances to boost ratings and ticket sales. Zak's Haunted Museum controversy isn't just about what's real or fake, though. It also highlights the tricky business of commercializing the supernatural. When you turn ghosts and curses into a product, things get complicated. Fans want spooky thrills, but some worry it comes at the cost of honesty. So, is Zak Bagans the fearless paranormal curator bringing real haunted history to the masses? Or is he more of a paranormal showman mixing fact with fiction to keep the cash flowing? The answer might depend on how much you believe in ghosts, or in marketing magic. Either way, one thing's for sure. The Haunted Museum continues to draw curious visitors and plenty of skepticism. And as Zak himself might say, that's all part of the spooky fun. Zak Bagans and the haunted fallout with co-stars. Zak Bagans might be the fearless leader of Ghost Adventures, but behind the eerie cameras, his relationships with co-stars often looked more like a paranormal meltdown than a team effort. The guy who chases ghosts on TV apparently struggled to keep his crew from disappearing in real life. Except these vanishings weren't supernatural, just the result of some serious drama. Let's start with Dakota Ladin, the show's longtime cameraman who wasn't just behind the lens but also behind some tension. Dakota was loyal early on, but once he started his own paranormal projects, things got icy. He launched his own YouTube channel and spin-off content, which reportedly didn't sit well with Zak. According to sources close to the crew, Zak saw Dakota's solo efforts as competition rather than collaboration. That clash turned their once-tight bond into a chilly standoff, proving that even ghost hunters aren't immune to jealousy. Then there's Nick Groff, one of the original Ghost Adventures gang members, and a fan favorite. Nick helped shape the show's spooky vibe with his sound expertise and fearless attitude. But in 2014, things hit a breaking point. Zak gave Nick an ultimatum: accept his terms or leave the show. Nick chose to exit and launched his own successful series, Paranormal Lockdown. In interviews, Nick has described working with Zak as intense and admitted the dynamic became difficult. Zak's passion is undeniable, but it can be overwhelming. Nick said. That blunt honesty gave fans a rare peek into the tension behind the scenes. Bill Hartley, the show's sound guy who captured those creepy EVPs or electronic voice phenomena, also left under tense circumstances. Bill was crucial to the show's early success, but over time, reports say Zak's perfectionism and controlling nature created a tough work atmosphere. Bill left to pursue other projects, reportedly relieved to step away from the pressure cooker environment. The common thread? Many former crew members have described a toxic work environment fueled by Zak's relentless drive for control. One insider said, "Working with Zak was like navigating a haunted house filled with traps. Every step had to be perfect or else." Another joked, "It felt less like a team and more like Zak's ghost hunting empire, where dissent wasn't welcome." Zak's perfectionism and need to control the show's creative direction often clashed with his co-stars' desire for more freedom. This power struggle created friction that eventually led to several key departures. Those cracks weren't just backstage whispers. They shaped the future of Ghost Adventures and how fans saw the show. Interestingly, Zak himself rarely addresses these disputes publicly, keeping the focus on ghosts and haunted locations rather than human drama. But his former teammates haven't been so quiet. Nick Groff openly discussed the challenges of working with Zak, telling Paranormal Podcast, "We had different visions, and sometimes that made it hard to work together." Meanwhile, Dakota Laden's social media posts sometimes hint at falling outs without naming names, leaving fans to connect the dots. And let's not forget how these departures impacted the show's vibe. Losing Nick, Bill, and Dakota meant Ghost Adventures had to reinvent itself with new cast members, which some fans say changed the energy of the series. Whether for better or worse, the original team's split gave the show an unexpected plot twist rivaling any ghost story. But here's the thing. Despite the backstage drama, Ghost Adventures kept attracting millions of viewers. Zak's no-nonsense leadership style, while tough, created a distinct brand of paranormal TV that people couldn't get enough of. Some fans even speculate that the tension made the show more intense, adding to its raw, edgy feel. So was Zak Bagans just a demanding boss pushing his crew to deliver spine-tingling content? Or did his control freak tendencies poison the atmosphere? Either way, the saga between Zak and his co-stars adds an extra spooky layer to the Ghost Adventures legend. Behind the ghostly scares was a very real human drama, full of power struggles, burned bridges, and some seriously haunted friendships. If anything, Zak's story proves that when it comes to ghost hunting, the real hauntings might be the relationships that didn't survive the spotlight. Fact versus fiction in Zak Bagans' paranormal world. Zak Bagans built his spooky empire chasing ghosts and creepy stories, but sometimes the real drama isn't from the spirits. It's from the people living in the places he films. Take the Goldfield Hotel in Nevada, a legendary stop on Ghost Adventures. The hotel's longtime caretaker didn't hold back, calling the show's ghostly encounters fake. According to him, the crew made a lot of noise and staged scenes just to get those eerie moments on camera. Imagine telling a ghost hunter they're faking it. Ouch. But that's just the start. Then there's Eastern State Penitentiary in Philadelphia, which is a haunted hotspot for the paranormal obsessed. Ghost Adventures went there, banging on walls and stirring up all kinds of ruckus. But here's the kicker. Some of the people involved, including Keith Linder, who runs the tours there, said the show's editing made them look like they were part of some spooky horror flick. Linder explained that while the crew's antics sometimes added to the atmosphere, it wasn't always real paranormal activity. He said, "The show's edits definitely made things more dramatic than they were. So, how much of Ghost Adventures is pure ghost hunting, and how much is Hollywood horror?" That question has followed Zak around for years. Critics argue that the show's drama sometimes overshadows the actual ghost investigations. And honestly, it's tough to separate real encounters from clever editing, when every episode feels like a roller coaster designed to freak you out. Then there's the story of Haunted Hikes, a paranormal tour company that publicly threw shade at Zak Bagans. They claimed that Zak's investigations weren't always consistent, and that some of the evidence he presented was shaky, or even staged. Haunted Hikes suggested Zak pushed scripted scenes for the cameras, rather than genuine ghost encounters. But ironically, Haunted Hikes' own accusations weren't always consistent, which left fans scratching their heads wondering if this was just another ghost drama playing out behind the scenes. So, with all this swirling doubt and back and forth, what's Zak Bagans up to now? Despite the controversies, Zak remains a titan of the paranormal world. His haunted museum in Las Vegas draws crowds from all over, curious to see his eerie collection of haunted objects. Items like the infamous Annabelle doll and the Black Shuck skull are a big draw, and whether or not you buy into the stories, the museum offers a genuine creepy vibe. Zak still hosts new seasons of Ghost Adventures, so the fans are clearly still in. He's embraced his reputation as a fearless ghost hunter who pushes limits, sometimes walking a fine line between thrill seeker and showman. Zak himself has admitted that the show is about entertainment first and evidence second, showing he knows what he's selling. His blunt honesty is part of the charm. Zak said in an interview, "I don't claim to prove anything. I just document what we experience." It's like he's the paranormal ringmaster, guiding us through a world where reality meets spooky spectacle. That mix of genuine curiosity, showbiz flair, and controversy makes Zak Bagans one of the most polarizing figures in paranormal TV. Some fans swear by his work, thrilled by every ghostly whisper. Others call him out for sensationalism and question how much is really authentic. But whether you believe Zak or not, he's made one thing clear. He's in this for the long haul, and he's going to keep hunting those ghosts, real, imagined, or somewhere in between, because that's where the stories are, and the fans will follow. So do you think Zak Bagans is a fearless ghost hunter uncovering real paranormal mysteries, or just putting on a well-crafted haunted show? Share your thoughts in the comments down below. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to check out these next videos just for you. Catch you in the next one.